Hello everybody, welcome to the next part of my Cambridge English First Certificate Use of English video course. In this lesson we're going to focus on the Use of English paper and more specifically part 2 of the Use of English paper. I'm going to teach you some tips and techniques for this part of the paper, and we're also going to learn some great strategy and do some practice examples for this part of the paper. Okay, but before we do that, I'm just going to remind you of the Use of English paper and the fact that there are 4 parts in the Use of English paper. There's part 1, multiple choice close, part 2, open close, part 3, word formation, and part 4, keyword transformations. And just so we're clear, in this lesson we're going to focus on part 2. That's the open close. Okay, so how many questions are there in this part? There are 8 questions. How many texts do you need to read? Just one text or one passage, like we can see here. And how many options can you choose from to fill in the gaps in the text? You have no options to fill in the gaps. You have to decide which word goes in the gaps in this passage, and you have no help. Okay, so my first tip is the same as for part 1. Read the whole passage quickly to get an idea of the topic. So, here is a typical part 2 passage, and in order to practice this first tip, to read the whole text quickly, I've got 2 questions for you. So, what you should do is read this question number 1 and then pause this video for 30 seconds and try to find the answer in this passage here. And after 30 seconds, click play. And then we will read this question, question number 2. Press pause again and take 30 seconds and try to find the answer in this passage, and then click play again. Okay, hopefully you've done that, and now we can have a look at the answers. So for question number 1, just so we remember, it's the writer studied English language at school. The answer is yes, he did. And we can find that answer here in the passage. In question number 2, the writer studied English sentence construction at school. The writer says no, he didn't study English sentence construction at school. And we can find the answer for that question here in the passage. So, my next tip is to read the whole sentence, ignoring the gap for now. And then once you've done that, you should look at the gap and then think about the words directly before the gap and directly after the gap. This should help you to decide what type of word you need in the gap. So ask yourself, do I need a noun? Do I need an adjective, a verb, etc.? In English, sentences often follow a structure, and you can find out more about sentence structures in English on my web page if you type this link into your web browser. But also, the ending of a word can tell you what type of word it is. For example, if a word ends in ment, yon, ants or ents, these types of words will be nouns. It's very useful for the whole of the Use of English paper to understand and know about sentence structures and word formations. Okay. Then, you should make sure that the word fits with the meaning of the sentence. It's very important. After you've chosen your word, check to see if it fits with the meaning of the sentence. And I tell you that in part 2, in this part, normally the words that you need to think of are short words, Not long words, but short words. And typically, these are auxiliary verbs, for example, be, do or have. Prepositions, for example, on, in or for. And relative pronouns, for example, which or what or who. These types of words are very common in part 2 of the Use of English paper. So learn about these, and again, a good course book like the one I recommend should go through and give you practice, and you will see that these words come up regularly in part 2 of the Use of English paper. These types of words. Okay. So let's do a quick example. Look at the example sentence here, and then ask ourselves these questions from the tips that I taught you. So read the whole sentence, and then look at the gap, and then look at the words directly before and directly after the gap, and then think, what type of word do I need? Do I need an adjective? Do I need a noun? Do I need a preposition? And then think, does the word I've chosen fit with the meaning of the sentence or not? Okay, so in this example sentence, what are we talking about? And you can pause this video and think about this question, and when you're ready, click play and I'll tell you the answer. Okay, so we are talking about a school which the author attended. What type of word do we need? We need a preposition. And why do we need a preposition? Because a preposition connects a verb to a clause or to a phrase. And here we have the verb went, and this is connected with a preposition to a person, I, and to a place, school. I grew up and went a good private school in England. So we need a preposition to connect where I went and a place. And the preposition which we need, which collocates with the verb go to show movement or to show attendance, is the preposition to. We have to say went to. And normally in a sentence, if you have a subject, for example a person like I, and then the word go, or a form of the word go, here it is in the past, went, we have the word to after it. I went to, I'm going to, go and to collocate. They always go together when we show attendance or movement. And that is why you should remember that you get tested on lots of collocations in the exam. So this is a typical example of a collocation that might come up in a question, and that's why you need to revise the use of collocations in a good course book. Okay. Then, for your homework, you can follow the tips and technique you've learnt in this lesson to complete this passage here. But also, you should use the tips and technique to get a course book and to complete similar Part 2 exercises in a course book. Okay, and when you do your homework, you can pause it on this screen and write down your answers, and you'll find the answers for these questions in a file attached to this video. Okay. And remember, if you want to learn more about word families or sentence structures, you can visit my webpage here. Or if you would like to do this lesson again, but with different examples and with me, so you can ask me any questions, email me at this email address and we can organize the first lesson. Okay, thank you for watching, and next time I'll see you in the next lesson, which is part 3 of the Use of English paper. Bye bye.